Hi, good morning. My name is Liz Cooper and I am the Science Alive Office Coordinator here at DRI. And I'm going to be giving you a quick demo on how to use air dry clay and just some techniques for you to help build your personal kind of objects inspired by the Archaeology green box. Okay, so your educator should kind of portion out just kind of a small amount of clay. And as you can notice, like this clay is already getting a little bit dry. So although this is air dry clay, you can still use water with it. So I recommend just getting a small container with water. I have a little rag. You can also use a paper towel, just something to kind of have on your workspace. It should clean up fine, but just always good to kind of protect your workspace. So I'm just gonna dip my fingers in the water and kind of add a little bit of water to the clay and just kind of try to hydrate it. So your skin will absorb moisture from the clay, so you always want to keep rehydrating it the longer that you're working on it. And the only tools that I'm going to be working with today are a popsicle stick and a paper clip, both of which should be in your green box. If you have any other tools available to you in your class or personally, pretty much anything can be used to be a clay tool. So don't be afraid to kind of utilize things as long as you clean them up afterwards. A really good thing to use for tools is just disposable utensils like disposable fork, disposable knife, disposable spoon, or traditional. Those help. So I'm just kind of squeezing some water into the clay, and this is just to make it more malleable or easy to work with, because it was kind of hard from just sitting around for so long. So I'm just kind of squeezing it into there. And so you should have already kind of sketched up some ideas for what kind of object you want to create, and you should kind of have a plan. So some techniques for executing that plan. So I'm going to show you, time permitting, a few. So the first one I'm going to show you is just how to use the pinch technique. So first you're gonna, again, you've hydrated your clay, then you're just gonna roll your clay into a sphere. Using your hands, you can roll it on the table. You can kind of gently pat it. Be aware of the sounds that you're making. Don't be, making too much of a racket. And then you want to get a nice good sphere of clay, and then just add any water anytime you see any cracks, okay? And then you're going to hold it in your palm, kind of cupping your palm like so. Take your thumb, press it into the clay, and then you're going to pinch and turn, pinch and turn, pinch and turn. You can see I'm kind of opening it up a bit. And so I'm going to continue to kind of pinch and turn till I've created an opening. You can see it looks kind of wonky. So then I'm gonna, again, keep adding water, and I'm gonna kind of press into the clay and start kind of smoothing it out to kind of smooth out some of those finger marks from where I pinched it. And then I'm gonna kind of take the clay and pull it up the walls of this little pot that I'm making to kind of make it all nice and even. And again, you want to just keep kind of turning your clay as you do this so that you get a nice even piece. So some ways that you can use the popsicle stick. So again, always dip it in your water, and then you can use it to kind of smooth out any just marks that you've made with your hand building. So again, if you dip it in the water, this kind of helps the popsicle stick to move along more smoothly, and this can create a really nice edge for you. You can also use this to kind of smooth out the top, smooth out any, so like if you get a crack here, you can kind of pinch that back together and then kind of reattach. So just kind of enjoy the experimentation with it. Sorry, can you see? So I'm kind of smoothing out the inside to kind of replace that crack. So that is the pinch technique, how to make like a little pinch pot. Another technique is coil. So you can do the same thing. So, but take, you only have a small piece of clay, take an even smaller piece. You're gonna roll it into a sphere in your hand. and then you're gonna roll it into a coil, which looks kind of like a snake. So I'm rolling it in between my palms, and you can see it's already starting to kind of coil. Okay, and then you can take it onto your table, roll it out there. Again, if you have a rag or something, this is gonna be beneficial to you so it doesn't stick to the table. Okay, and you can use this technique to, like let's say I wanted to make a spoon, this would make a really nice spoon handle. You can also build up with it if you wanted to build another, like a pot or something like that. And so then you would just take another piece, roll another coil, and kind of continue to build them up. You will want to attach these so you can score, so make little marks on both of your pieces of clay, add a little bit of water, and then stick it on there so it kind of has a little bit more to grab onto, and then smooth out kind of the inside so that they stay really well attached. So you can't pull it off, but you can still kind of see the cool coil look from the outside, or you can smooth that up. So this would be another technique to use if you're making like a vase or something kind of round. And then the last technique I'm going to show you is slab. So this would be good if you're going to make something flat. So again, if you're making an object that's relevant to you, maybe you're making like a plate, or maybe something, you know, maybe like a small dish to put your headphones on or something like that. So this piece is already a little bit flat, but let's say it starts just in kind of a big blob like you get. So again, first thing you always want to do with your clay is hydrate it. So I'm adding water and just rolling it in my palms. Again, you can roll it on the table. So if you have anything that you can use to roll the piece, you can use that for slab, but I'm going to show you a way to do it with no tools. So you have kind of your sphere of clay. Start by just kind of squeezing it in between your palms, and then kind of, again, pinching to flatten out. And then you can kind of gently toss it on your table, kind of pinch out. Anything round can be used to roll a slab. So if you have like a water bottle, you can even use like a marker or a pen. So again, as long as you clean it, it should be fine afterwards. So I'm gonna kind of roll onto that to make it a little bit flatter. You can see it's already kind of flattening up. Adding water, roll onto it again. So be thinking about, you know, if you were an ancient native Nevadan, like what tools were available for you to be flattening clay, or, you know, so think about the tools that you would find in nature, you know, rocks, you know, sticks, anything that's, you know, just kind of sitting outside. Like again, this is just a stick. Okay, so now you have a nice flat piece. So one thing that you could do is cut different pieces and kind of attach them. Like let's say you wanted to make a little box. So I'm gonna take my handy paper clip tool, and I'm gonna, again, you would have already had this planned out and measure it, but I'm just gonna cut out some little squares out of my slab to kind of build a teeny box. And again, I'm going much faster than I expect you to go. So you can take the pieces and kind of attach them. Use that technique that I showed you earlier, scoring the pieces. So this will just give it a little bit more to grab onto. And again, you can use your little paper clip to just make little marks. They're kind of like teeth, and they help the pieces of clay grab onto each other, versus two smooth things will just kind of sit. Okay, so there's your two. A little bit of agua, water, put it onto both pieces, and then kind of stick it on there. And then you would do the same thing with the other side, and so on and so forth to make like a little box. And again, if you use your popsicle stick, you can smooth it out really easily so that you don't see any of the marks where you cut the piece or attached it or anything like that. And you can make kind of a cool little box thing. Maybe make it just big enough to fit your headphones in. or like jewelry, you know, like things that I use on a daily basis is like a tray to put my jewelry. So that could be something as well. Okay, so that was all of the clay techniques. And then just make sure that if you are not done with your piece, at the end of class, take a paper towel, get it wet, okay, wring it out just so that it's damp. And then you're gonna cover your piece or your clay, like so. I just smushed mine, so I'm gonna keep working on it later. So just cover your clay in a damp paper towel and then put it in a plastic bag. Again, it could be just like an old grocery bag or something like that so that the air doesn't get in. This is Ziploc, obviously. If your piece is done, leave it out in the air to dry. I always recommend take a little square of cardboard, write your name on it so that you know that it's your piece. But if it's not done, wrap it in a damp paper towel, cover it in a bag, and then you can come back to it the next class period. So have a great time using clay. Thanks a lot. Bye.